reason I miss my own storytelling. I hope the narrator will quote my smile as scripture, that he will say he found God here, say he knew all the highs and lows of my ridges, that I had crevices, some between my thighs, and lesser men have translated them into fold lines, places that made my landscape weak. I know he will say he prayed here. I pray that in my absence, his tired legs are evidence of years spent traversing the breadth of my lips, all of my universe. I hope the narrator knows me thoroughly, enough to know I did not apply concealer to my face or to my truth. If I ever loved anyone, chances are it was fiercely. That the unloving must have taken long, but if it in the end happened, then it too must have been thorough. That there are some I never unloved, who were a daily practice in amnesia. That I've never been proud of the poetry I've made out of the ruins. I hope he doesn't forget to add that one year we counted the dead like we counted our misfortune. That the dead were unaccounted for. That it was difficult to establish the cause of their deaths. In all honesty, it was impossible. And we understood. So we swept the bullets off the streets and washed away the blood. The next day, we sold our bananas and vegetables on that clean pavement in the city center. Speak of me not, without speaking of the times that made me, without shame or doubt, or the times I made, spun seconds into minutes with my bare hands. That the sun sometimes emerged from my backyard, sweating from its own heat and asking me which way it should shine. That even today, when the sun decides to close its eyes, it will not be because it has grown tired of sliding slowly down the supple skin of the sky, or that it has grown weary of watching its vast blue. If the sun closes its eyes tonight, know that it does so at my beckoning. My best years are autographed on the smalls of its back. So hold tight your days. Each day is a knot from me. Bask in me. Catch my rays like we used to catch our breaths back when we wanted to test our limits of how much we can hold. Love your days dearly, my love. I know they bring me back to you in small doses. Thank you so much.
That was Millicent, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together. And now, unfortunately, the other guest, who was one of the three guests on our poster, is not making it tonight. Afro Poetic Mind won't be performing. However, the show goes on, and before I get into our last act for the night, please put your hands together for Nyasha.
Question. What is my role in the city? I've been here 5 years. I've cried tears, shared ideas with my peers that changed the social order, shifted criteria. My frustrations land on seemingly deaf divine ears until I realize he's only God if he's deaf-defying. Yeah. And so he pioneered a faith in which David could take a slingshot and ring shots and put him right through Goliath's head, take out the extinguisher. You know I'm fire as hell. Forget what they told you. Your blackness is beautiful. But how am I to believe that when historically blackness has been the cause of many a funeral? Put down like a sick dog, your euphemisms don't suffice here. Bullet to the dome on his way home when the cops shot and the metal pierced through the chrome. That's a daily reality in the neighborhoods where some are from. You hear, woo, woo, that's the sound of the police, but I hear doo, doo. When the shotty hit Tyrese and when they shoot, shoot, then his body starts to crease. Excuse the musician within me, the rapper marries the intellectual and breathes the academic weapon that I am. No need to apologize for my intelligence. I'm sorry if you can't reconcile a dark skin with such eloquence. Polaroid dark, but I'm still made in the image of the Elohim. I'm from the 263, John 2:15. I'm flipping tables, my brother's keeping, no need for Cain and Abel's. Was bragging blood, was cracking cuz we speak vernacular on these street corners. Come and see and join us. And gain a new perspective on the block that you neglected, rejected, and then you gentrified for your aesthetic. I get it. The lens that you see through is monolithic. That's why the writings of the poor read like they're hieroglyphics and distant to your experience suburban riches. Now I ain't saying that with an intent to burn no bridges, infer no image, or infer no prejudice. I'm just saying the hood needs attention. It ain't just people out there squeezing wrenches breed intention. It's more like people in the trenches who perceive things different. Due to complexities and nuance, communities diverse in their thinking that are influenced by Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, I spice, Luda, and Common, and many more. Many pour Henny or other forms of liquor for the many morgues that have claimed many dogs. Yet we carry remedies of reconciliation. You see, this hip-hop's an art form. I see Da Vinci's, Van Goghs with flows and goes and Pierre Pablo Picasso's. Lyrical architects, men who work hard at this, collective minds sublime, gifted by sovereign. Intelligent minds take lemons and limes and reinterpret these experiences to lyrics and rhymes. While critics view the hip-hop artist as the sum of his crimes, why don't you view the social context that's in some of his lines? And gain a clearer picture before you come to judge and malign. A farmer knows that he can't separate a fruit from the vine. Thank you. I got one more. So my final piece that I'm going to be performing is called Please, Mr. Preacher. So this is an original piece that I wrote. It's written from the perspective of a black Christian slave in America to a supposedly Christian slave owner. And this was my way of processing a lot of racial trauma that I've experienced abroad and how I've had to reconcile that with my faith. So it goes like this. Please, Mr. Preacher, I come to thee with trembling hands and solemnity etched within the depths of my soul. It is uncharacteristic of me to open my mouth to express my grievances, but on this occasion, I plead with you to lend a listening ear to the sorrows of your servant. You see, unlike you, Mr. Preacher, I may not be able to articulate the institutes of the Christian religion like John Calvin, or expertly exegete Ecclesiastes expositionally, or speak of the eschatological hermeneutics of a Pauline epistle, Mr. Preacher. My understanding of the doctrine of election may not have stemmed from Reformed thought, but I assure you that the same Spirit tells me that I'm chosen too. My body might have been affected by the fall and my frame indwelt by sin, but I assure you that my wickedness is not derived from the color of my skin, Mr. Preacher. I may not be able to pick out tulips in the book, the same way I pick up cotton in your field, but I assure you that the same faith flows from the speech of my tulips, Mr. Preacher. I may not be able to identify all the theophanies in a biblical text, but I too have seen the hand of God, Mr. Preacher. Please, Mr. Preacher, I've spent my whole life trying to appease Mr. Preacher. You see, like a Coke bottle, I bottled up all my blackness until your hatred left me shook and caused my contents to explode out and stain your white-tinted tiles, Mr. Preacher. Of course, I would rebuke the vernacular, but your forefathers colonized my mother tongue and bred the offspring of identity dysmorphia, Mr. Preacher. I may not have the academic acumen to critique you, but I assure you that it takes no theologian to identify religious hypocrisy, Mr. Preacher. To subjugate people groups under the guise of evangelistic mission is to do violence to the scriptures which you claim to so vehemently hold to, Mr. Preacher. To echo the words of Frederick Douglass, I love the pure, peaceable, and impartial Christianity of Christ. I therefore hate the corrupt, slave-holding, women-whipping, cradle-plundering, hypocritical Christianity of this land. Indeed, I can see no reason but the most deceitful one for calling the religion of this land Christianity. I look upon it as the boldest of all frauds, the climax of all misnomers, and the grossest of all libels. You see, Mr. Preacher, each lynching my eyes have witnessed are a testament to Christ's solidarity with the least of these. Each mark on my back, a reminder that I too bear the marks of Christ on my body. My soul takes assurance knowing that God's chosen one will one day relentlessly pursue and establish justice on the earth. I find assurance in this. But what does this mean for you, Mr. Preacher? Thank you.
That was Nyasha. Another round of applause, please. Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who performed in the open mic, and thanks to all of you for coming through for WordKalcha. The next one is on the 21st. Some of you are looking at me like, is this the end of the program? No, not yet, not yet. So we have the bar at the back. It's a cash bar. So after the final act, for those of you who, I would encourage all of you actually to stay behind and just, to stay and interact with someone you haven't, not now. Okay. All right, so our final act for tonight, WordKalcha, April 2025, is a man I have known for quite some time now, someone I look up to a lot as a writer and as a performer as well. I first met him, I think about 6 or 7 years ago, when I was part of a couple of writers who were lucky enough to have some of their pieces critiqued by professional writers, and he was one of the people critiquing our work. He is an award-winning writer and poet. He has won awards and prizes, some I cannot even pronounce. Best poetry book, best poet from Africa, NAMA award. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Togara Musane now.
Sorry, I'm normally quiet, but I'd just like to say I'm quite envious of the words which I've heard today. And if I had known about this place, I would have come here more often. The first poem I'm going to, I don't know if you can hear me. The first poem is I'm going to read is from my first collection, which is called Spirit Brides. And it's a very short poem. And it's called Liberation. Liberation. This is how water flies. All shapes of liquid light, hovering, descending, pulling up and taking to air gracefully without any immediate strain. This contrast for the vessel shooting away into quiet, shape vanishing to a it was when I was driving somebody from our farm, and she had a breech birth. All the flies. Naked and afraid, the girl doubled up with a shrill that filled the rear view. Sorry, the light is doing something. Naked and afraid, the girl doubled up with a shrill that filled the rear view. The red sun thick of her hair, her lips peeled back over her teeth clenched on tails shredded thin by speed. A rush of rich carmine silt ran slowly under the bridge. The dry knock of the wheel pitching the battered Hilux over the ungraded road. Again, her face resurfaced, alone in the mirror. The strain of the breech birth tightening her breath, the road rolling stoically to its end, where a dirt strip rolled stoically to its end, where a dirt road strip, to its end, where a dirt strip took us to a clinic up at the foot of the mountain. There, blood and limb turned cold between her thighs. The drive back home was all silver light and tussock grass. Low, heavy groans, moaning heavy to turn off the grass fields. The road speckled black, the river bruised serigraph, woven wet with the brisk evening flight of alderflies. I went to St. George's, and I hope there's no old Georgians who are here, because I did not enjoy my time there. The Chronicles, and the Chronicles is a book which is published every year. They still do the old roller of the cricket pitches, with men yoked like a team of oxen to the stubborn iron wheel. The grass smelt as the grass did, all rich beneath the afternoon sun, the heat flashing off the ground like a blinding flick of steel. All the fields were there, much smaller than remembered, the rugby and football grounds unused, the powdered lime lines washed out by the rains, but the names of dead Jesuits on signs still stood on the preened edges in traditional white and red. Up into view, the memorable Tower of Stone rose with all the dreams of climbing up the winding cool stairwell, up to the top of the turret, where thoughts of fields soft with warm breaths of red top met the sky with hope and refuge. But those were just the schoolboy's dreams, brought on by the sight of the huge bronze plaque of St. George plunging his spear, extinguishing our fears of the dragon. Though all that bullshit vanished with age, the hero on the forged plaque still remains some old myth the Jesuits like to work on. I'm here to go through the Chronicles, 86 to the mid-90s. The receptionist is grey and half-deaf. I'm apparently soft-spoken. So there's a lot of repetition, a eyes look up, you do remember the way to the library. I'd forgotten, but then retraced the step in my mind to get there. Each class I pass, a voice spills from the mock Edwardian windows. The red polished floors tap under my feet, and a sweet blessedness fills me that I'm not sitting in those sweat rooms of learning, shadows of my youth, daydreaming about a new world after a first kiss. The study hall has lost all its desks and holds an array of instruments and chairs for classical musicians. The fountain in the court is gone now, and at first it didn't mean a thing to me. But then a crude bewilderment took hold when a memory tried to find its place in its absence. And how on earth they had it removed me lost. The lawn was perfectly smooth. The weight room where our hands were beaten blue by leather wads. The weight room where our hands were glued by leather wads. Where iron was pumped on hot afternoons was now clean and had the smell of sweat and leather replaced by veneered computer booths. Outside an office, a boy lifted his hat and said, "Good morning," and away. That had me question what he had said. It was only when I looked back that I noticed the strain on his face, his rheumy eyes, and the big black word scoured across his chest, faggot. I could see how easily they could have pinned him down. The tree was there, where we sat at break, trying to forget the color bar that still hadn't faded outside of the gates. The smell of masasa leaves and old orange peels revived a dead ache and filled my belly. A mob outside the science labs, fists of other kids. When I met Penny, she smiled, and something told me it wasn't a strange request to come here and go through the chronicles. She had them stacked up on her desk, all piled up chronologically, in towers, stacked up chronologically, towers of memories, names and dates in black and white at my disposal. I sat down, leafed through the pages, the photographs alive in my head, and after an hour of being immersed in the vivid quiet, the bell rang, and it was still that same high-pitched drill that once brought relief as it sang through the long corridors, but also brought with it a certain dread. Sorry, I must excuse myself because I'm not work in a field. It's called the music of labor. At first, the stubborn growth resisted. At first, the stubborn growth resisted, till each stroke is fluently flung to clear the knee-high grass. His task down to an art, the pendulous swing of knees slightly giving, his right arm catching the sun wet of the blade. All day the work, shuffling steps into shuffled clearings, beetles and crickets rising off cordite clicks sparking of stone, bearded chin sequined with sweat. The heat seems not to bother him, but steals his concentration deep in the trials of his faith. Why the sun rises and falls, why his jaundiced wife believes God will save them, is just as unclear as why his newborn's unfinished death hangs heavy on every dawn. In the music of labor, each composed thresh throws slash grass to sunlight. Each mastered stroke floats timed beneath the weight of the sun burning deep into his heart. The mastered art of his arm fluent with the song the hours constantly sing. Third book, well, it's my fourth book actually. My third book is about the history of the 20th century. And I'm going to try and find the first poem, which is there. In America, before we had white jockeys, the greatest jockeys were black American jockeys. And one was Eddie Acaro. No, it wasn't Eddie Acaro. It was Isaac Murphy. Now, what happened with Isaac Murphy was he died at an early age when he was 31. And then when he died, he was buried with a horse, and the horse was also one of the greatest horses full time. He wasn't allowed to be buried with his wife. So this is a dream which his wife has. It's called Charging Shadows. Always this dream, the immortal flick of wind, the dark sediment caking our mouths. Always this feeling of time sitting flat like crust, turning soft in our brains, the earth wet with a dour embrace. Wandering footfall tears through the union of foliage and sun. A breath of earth and stone thicken with an inquisitive charge. How do the dead defend themselves? Cross-armed, hollow-breasted, muscle undone by the wet rotting song of time. For years, we lay lost, hugged tight by mounds of ungoverned earth, squat nameless blocks knotted above our heads, till the shovel's eye sunk its blade and tipped and rose with pure betrayal. Then I'm going to read the last poem. It's got two epigraphs, one from Derek Walcott and a second one from the New York Times. The first epigraph goes, May my enemy be assuaged by these waves, because they are beautiful. They are beautiful even to his evil. May the drizzle be a benediction to his heart, Derek Walcott. And then free diving, plunging to the greatest possible depths on a single breath without scuba gear is one of the more extreme contemporary diversions. And last week, a 20-year-old French woman lost her life during this attempt at the Dominican Republic. And that was written in the New York Times, October 2002. There's just a little bit of a story behind this one, because it was thought that the husband sabotaged her and took out most of the oxygen in her tank so that she couldn't make it all the way up to the top. From the depths, there is no sound of rain meeting the ocean's surface. Only the grand motion of the deep hoists his wife in the grey columns of the sea. An arm in the half-light will only take her body halfway. A diving sled abandoned. A diving sled abandoned on the steel line, where water flows slower than the wind's history. When the clock counts down, the seconds exceed her time, forcing him to dive down and fill his arms with propulsion, corkscrewing and clawing for the ocean's bed. The weight of water darkening his blood, compressing cavities and plates of the skull. And where pressure condenses air, he snatches his wife from another man's arms, and cradling her body, kicks and kicks and races for the sky.
Keep it going, keep it going. So much. That was our last act for tonight. I hope to see you again on the 21st. But before we go, is anyone feeling like maybe a rap song? Where is Has? Oh, he's left. Oh, you're there. Shout out to Cloud Bass. Okay. Can we do we have a beatboxer in here? Oh, Millicent, you're a beatboxer? I didn't know. You have a beatboxer in here? No. Sure. Great, please, come through. Yeah. Oh, you beatboxers. Hannah, are you leaving already? Why?
Or bass.
Thank you so much. Yes, please do the beat.
All right.
It's a good beat. He's good. Makare kare, torai makare kare, mugare now. Makare kare, torai makare kare, mugare now. makare kare matunhu aive pakati pazambezi nasave paiva nerudzi rwevashona rwaiva neumhare varume vaikurukura vagere zvavo mumatare ipapo madzimai aikuya zviyo zvavo paruware zvakare kwasava nemutare kana rare sakubva kana mbare tauro wechonotsenurwa zvakanaka samare asi pasi paya pakazoti parohwa nenyundo zvino bundo takatanga kumera paya paruware tauro uya uchibva waitwa sechinhu chekare ukatanga ukanyanidzwa sechimera chemukwerera kwera dzichina vanorayira zani ndiana chabayira taura pana chadayira zvanzi hapachina chimuko asi chembera kabika mabwe wani muto ikatona. Thank you so much, boss, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming through to WordKalcha. And you know, it's not easy to come out on a Wednesday evening. So I really appreciate this. Thank you so much. I hope you left your details outside so that you get, you stay updated about future events. The next WordKalcha event is on the 21st of May at the same venue, same time. So please feel free to interact with each other and get some drinks and stay safe, get home safely. Thank you so much. My name is Mose Billy. This is WordKalcha. Thank you.